It's Friday, September the 3rd, King of the Mountain State Show. I'm Chase Hill. Today's a special day for those of you at home that know I have twins. Today's their birthday. Happy birthday, Brooke and Bro. I've obviously known those kids their whole life. Well, my guest today, I've also known his whole life. I watched him grow up from a kid to a teenager to the family man he is today. I've watched him grow as a fighter. His dad and Zach are the entire reasons I got into boxing. It's been an honor to help him to get to this point in his career. I've always said he's one of the best in the state, if not the best of the state. And he's got a chance to prove that finally here coming up pretty soon. Ladies and gentlemen, King Zack Kuhn.
How you doing, Chase? Thanks for having me. Happy
Man,
birthday, Brooke and Brody.
Yeah, they grow up fast, man.
How old are they now?
They're 12 years old today. So I'm one year away from teenager. This is our first year in middle school. So tell this.
I remember when your wife was pregnant with them. Well,
oh yeah,
ex-wife.
Yeah, that was. So they were born in 2009, and we started putting on boxing events in 2012, the beginning 2011. So they were probably 1-2 years old whenever you were in the ring. Tell me, I know your story, but tell the fans at home a little bit where you grew up at and where you're living at now.
I'm originally from Boone County, West Virginia. Born and raised all the way up through I was about 21, 22 years old. And my dad got a teaching degree and he decided to move to Welch. And of course, me being 22, I was still living at home. So moved with dad. We moved to Welch and met my beautiful wife here. Just we're raising kids here and trying to stay boxing much as I can.
And we're getting ready to put a show on for Welch. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Before we get into any of the pro stuff, I have a lot of conversations with a lot of boxing people. I'm always trying to steer them toward the USA boxing type stuff, especially as the kids. But you had one of, if not the best amateur career, lengthy career in the state. You were ready to go pro early, but tell me about that amateur career. How many fights you think you had before you were even out of high school?
I had 160 fights total. And I think it's a little over like 165 or so, but that's
a lot of fights. And we're not talking about just, like easy fights, pick your opponent type fights. We're talking about just show up and you don't know who you're fighting, but 160 fights, anybody. That's a lot of fights. And it's not just locally. You were traveling too, right?
Yeah. I fought, as an amateur, I fought in California. I fought in Kansas. I fought in Texas. I fought in Florida, all up and down the whole East Coast.
Well, and I know you guys
boxing made it to where I could travel as a kid and see a bunch of, and it was an experience as a kid.
Well, and not a lot of people get to travel like that, much less do the sport and compete. You love sports. You played football. I watched you play. You had a good career with that, super athletic and everything that you did. We see a lot of that transition over. Now, you did turn pro early. You were, 18 years old? I don't know if you were still a senior in high school, but it was right at it. I remember it was there at Scott High School. Tell me what that's like being so young and becoming a professional athlete.
Well, I ain't gonna lie. I think turning pro early has helped me grow as a pro, but also it's something cool for the community. My dad, he put some money behind me early, so we was able to make that happen. And it was just a cool experience to be able to have that pro fight before I even graduated, and have all my classmates there. That was cool. It was a cool experience.
Well, and there's a point in everybody's amateur career when they're ready to go pro. And I don't think age has as much to do with it. I've seen guys get into the fight game at the age 30 and maybe not turn pro to 32, something like that. But at that point in your life, like, you were ready to fight pro, especially in Southern West Virginia. There wasn't anybody even then that really gave you much of a threat due to the fact of that lengthy amateur career. Now, since turning pro, you've had some highlights already. You've had almost 20 fights in the ring professionally. You've been some big places. You fought on some big cards. You've got a championship belt through the ABA. Tell me what stands out to you as some of the highlights of your pro career so far.
Yeah, definitely. Fighting on the undercard of Mayweather versus Logan Paul. That was I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I don't get much sweeter than that. But then, of course, fighting in Logan, was different because, yeah, I'd fought my pro debut at home right there at Scott. Then 2.5, 3 years later, I was able to fight again back at home in Logan. And then, so it's just cool to, be able to fight at home and then go out on the road as a road dog and try and get them upset wins. It's just cool. You fight good competition on the road. So
Well, and when you talk about Mayweather, Logan Paul down here in Florida, like the entire world was watching that. You're a kid from Boone County, and you and your dad come up with this plan, and he is maybe the best coach ever. He's coached you your whole career, but like you guys coming from such a small place, and I'm from there too, and seeing you on the Mayweather Logan Paul, that night was the biggest stage in the world. I'm sure you saw some familiar faces there that maybe you'd seen from TV and stuff. What's it like,
oh, yeah.
Being in the locker room and different places at the press conferences and you seeing some of these people?
Yeah, when I was able to meet Matt Barnes, basketball player, NBA champion, that was cool. He's a really cool dude. I was able to meet Caleb Plant. I was able to actually introduce my wife to him. We actually talked for about 20 minutes. He was a very cool dude. Good luck to him on his next fight against Canelo. I hope he wins. But yeah, just to introduce myself to those people, and then I mean, they seen the fight. They seen that I was there. I was in there. I mean, I did my thing. It wasn't like I went out there and got washed away.
Right.
So, I got my respect. That's for sure.
Well, and one cool thing about like your career, you and your dad, like you guys have pictures with Mayweather before he was Mayweather. You know what I mean? Like you guys, I
Right.
remember, I don't remember where that was at, maybe out in Vegas or something, but you guys I can remember seeing the actual real picture. It was before we were even taking pictures with phones or anything. Like it was a real picture from a camera that got developed, like you guys knew
Right.
Mayweather before he was Money Mayweather. So, you could go.
He was still pretty boy. He was still pretty boy in that picture.
Yeah. So you could go all the way through your career. And I know it's a lengthy list of people you've gotten to meet and places you've gotten to go and stuff like that. Now tell me this, you are the ABA, the Appalachian Boxing Association super welterweight champ. You're going to be defending your belt, which is one thing we're going to talk about. But what's it like that night to finally come full circle as a professional and beat a good fighter in a hostile environment and win and get your hand raised when that belt goes on you? How much does that kind of solidify everything that you've been working hard to do?
It solidifies everything. I mean, I haven't fought here in Welch. So for 7 years, this has been my home, but I haven't fought here. So, and the community has heard about me, but they ain't ever seen me. So I think it's going to be something exciting for the community to see. They're interested, but they're not sure if I'm any good. So I think, I'm here to show them how good I am or prove them wrong. Whatever.
And sometimes all it takes is the opportunity, like I have seen you grow as a fighter big time. There was times where, not to be overmatched, but there was times when you were young in your career that you went on the road, you really were the opponent and that kind of stuff. And then we've seen it grow to where now they have to be a little careful about who they put you in the ring with. You might just show up and beat them. Now, as far as the state goes, I've always thought you were the top dog in your weight class. So, and tell me this, we're getting ready to talk about the fight with Derek, but your career, it's important that we talk a little bit about how instrumental your dad has been, Scott Kuhn. One of the real pioneers of boxing in Southern West Virginia of our era. Tell me a little bit what it's like having your dad as your coach and your mentor and being around you so much.
Yeah, he has, made sure that I have always kept learning the game. And made sure that I didn't stop trying to progress my mind learning. You know, if you stop learning, you ain't gonna get better. So, you know.
Well, and you guys have a really strong relationship. I know it's easy to say that father-son has a special relationship, but early on in your life, it became just you and your dad and your brothers. You know, you lost your mom there, and it was a big heartbreak and something you've carried with you. You and your dad have a special bond. And I've seen you guys probably get more mad at each other than anybody you've ever been mad at. But at the end of the day, that's a bond that's unbreakable. You guys are best friends, and not a lot of father-sons have that. It's been fun for me to watch that, you know, how close you and your dad have been through this whole process.
I mean, yeah, definitely. Like, I can say 4 or 5 years ago, I would build up what we call this father-son wall, and you know, I think it was definitely detrimental. I didn't learn as much as I probably could have, but he would tell me things to do, and me hearing it from dad, not from coach, and I would butt him on it instead of just letting him push me. So, you know, I've let that wall come down all the way. He can push me as much as he needs. So it is what it is. He's let me go to other coaches for advice and take their advice, learn more from them if I can. Just hear it in a different voice. They might be teaching the same thing, just say it in a different way, you know. But
Well, and I've had a lot of talks with Scott over. He was down here at my house in Florida maybe a month ago or so, and we were talking, just he and I, and he truly just wants whatever's best for you. Like, he has made it in life, and he is doing so well, and now he truly just wants to help you achieve whatever you can, whatever that takes. Now, here's the big one thing we need to put on the record is you have had the fight name King Zack Kuhn for about a decade now.
give me 1 second.
Yeah, absolutely. Even the dogs are excited there, right?
That's what it is. I gotta get the dog.
We start talking boxing and the dogs get excited, right?
Yes. Come on.
But you got to tell everybody this nickname, King Zack Kuhn, you've had this for 10 years now. And I think it's important that people know whenever you walk in the ring and they announce you as King Zack Kuhn, who gave you that name.
Yeah, I grew up, you know, as Zack Kuhn, you know, from an infant, in a sense. My mom, you know, that's who pretty much gave me the Zack nickname. And I felt I was growing out of it, you know, growing up. And,
so it was time for maybe a change from Zack Attack to something else.
It was definitely time for a change. I felt I was changing as a fighter, and was ready for something new. And I discussed it with you.
That's right.
Me and you, I ain't gonna lie, we wrote down, I think, about 8 or 10 of them. And if I'm not mistaken, I left your house, like, not trying to be mean or nothing, Chase, but I didn't like none of them.
Yeah.
I think you text me about 20 minutes later, and King Zack Kuhn hit. Yeah.
And I just think it's important people know where that came from. So someday, you know, whenever you go into whatever Hall of Fame or titles or whatever it is, I want them to know where that came from. So, all right, man, without further ado, let's talk about the big one. We're 6 weeks away. West Virginia state title, your ABA title, you and Derek Lambert in Welch. You finally get the opportunity to fight in front of those people where you've been living down there. It's going to be in the Armory. It's a big venue. You know, Derek's bringing a big crowd with him. You're going to have a big fan support. This will probably be one of the biggest, rowdiest crowds that we fought in front of in West Virginia. I'm super excited about it. Tell me, how does this happen? You watched him fight down in Bluefield, come out of his retirement. You're seeing him in the ring main event. They raise his hand. It's not very long after that, I get a phone call, and here we go. The mega fight, Zack Kuhn versus Derek Lambert at the Welch Armory.
I mean, yeah, I went down and watched your show planned on just helping you with anything you might need, and turned into more or less a scout. And I was hungry that night. You I'm not gonna lie about it. That's why I called you. It'd been on my mind. It is what it is. I think he's a good person. I think I'm a better boxer. And granted, he's been in this fight game a long time, but this fight game ain't boxing. You can learn jujitsu and all that stuff, but that ain't boxing. And I've literally spent my entire life boxing. So I just I reached out to you and I asked for it. Thanks for making it happen.
And for me, it was super exciting. I'm normally the ones trying to talk great fighters into fighting other great fighters. And I had you present this to me, and I ran it by Derek, and he jumped on it. You guys are familiar. You've been in a ring with each other, maybe not competitively, but sparring and stuff like that. This is the kind of fight where the 160 amateur fights, the 20 pro fights, the slick boxer that everybody knows you are, this is the kind of opponent that you finally get an opportunity to show your class, to show your boxing skill. It is a matchup of styles. He is a little bit more aggressive. He is a little bit more in your face, a more of a not a brawler, but he's more a fighter than he is a boxer. However, he's been working on that a lot. This is an opportunity for you to really show everything you and your dad have done. And it is an accumulation of your entire life's work in 6 weeks in Welch, exactly where you wanted it, with the opponent you wanted, a chance for a state title, and we can no longer question who's the best in the state. This is your chance. It's a big fight, man.
Well, I ain't gonna lie. Since I moved to Welch, and I say I'm a boxer, people are, Red or Derek's name gets brought up every time. Even in my hometown of Welch, my whole community knows who he is. Even just an hour ago, I went to the car garage, put some air in my tire, and the guy, he knows Derek. He don't know me that well, so I think a lot of the community is gonna come, but it's more of a curiosity. I don't know who the crowd's gonna be for. Don't care. I just know that I'm gonna be where I'm gonna be.
Well, and you're the champ. You'll come in the ring second. You are the ABA champ. The West Virginia belt is vacant. So, that's a neutral title there until the night's over with. Somebody will get it. Picturing one of you two guys walking out of the ring with both of those belts, being able to claim, nobody can argue that you're the best. It is exciting. Like you said, everybody knows him. When I went to Bluefield for the event up there, I went up a month early to check out the venue. And at every gas station, every store, every restaurant I went to, I said, "Hey, I'm putting on a boxing event. You guys know Derek Lambert?" And everybody there knew him. Yeah, Red. Yeah, everybody knows him. And everybody's getting ready to find out who you are. I have watched
They don't know who I am down here. And
right.
That's just bottom line.
Well, and I think after this, me and your dad talked, if something happens, you end up winning this fight, and you're pretty confident you're going to, you'll make more fans that night than ever before. And one thing I was telling, I believe it was James Armstrong, I was talking with him on my show this week. And one thing that I told him was what I enjoy about pro fights, putting them on these cards, is to show the fans what's the difference in an amateur and a professional. Now, that's always somewhat a gap. But when you take a guy who's a boxer like you, and you put them, I mean, how many times have you been main event on my cards? We could go down the list. You've probably fought 8 times, 10 times on my card. Probably more main events than anybody. But when I get to showcase you versus Derek as a pro fight with these amateurs, the fans are going to see the caliber of fighting that both of you guys are.
I mean, yeah, he's definitely, coming. I know it. So, Derek's a very good competitor. He's skillful in what he does. and he's going to be bringing his all. And I know that. So if I'm an idiot if I don't prepare myself for that. And
well, both guys can fight. Both guys are going to be there. It's going to be incredible. I know both guys are going to make weight. You're truly professionals, all that kind of stuff. It's a matchup of styles. We're going to see who's able to really impose their style on the other one that night. Ultimately, that's who's going to be victorious. I think this fight is won in the 6 weeks leading up to it. Whoever has the best camp. You and I have talked a lot of times that if you take care of what you've got to take care of, then you are the best boxer in West Virginia. It's just making sure you get that camp in. I could not be, as a big brother figure or whatever, an uncle, whatever I am to you. I've known you my whole life. I could not be any more excited for you to get to do this in Welch against a guy like Derek, where it's a big time fight, and to finally prove, to get a chance to finally prove you're the best. I'm excited for you, Zach. Stay healthy. Keep your butt in the gym. Live right. Do everything right for the next 5-6 weeks. This is what you've been waiting your whole career for. You got any shout outs and stuff before we go?
I ain't been able to hit the gym as much as I wanted lately. My wife, she's recently had surgery on both of her feet. She just got some more toes amputated. So keep her in everybody's prayers for me.
We certainly will.
So let's just hope she can pull through on that. She's on my mind a lot right now. She's fighting some depression, anxiety, everything that comes with all that. So
well, everything in life.
She's not able to walk real well. She can't walk at all right now. So
all these things, these hurdles that you're faced, adversity, you've been through it in the past, with your mother and stuff like that, that turn this stuff into some fuel and have a good camp. Get yourself ready, man. We'll keep her in our prayers. Hopefully she's able to make a good recovery pretty quick and be there to watch you maybe become the West Virginia super welterweight state.
Oh, she'll be there. That's good. For sure.
All right. Anything else you got for me?
I just want to shout out to anyone who's reached out to me lately, just wishing me luck on this next coming fight. There's a bunch of you all can't reach out individually. I just want to say thank you to all y'all, and shout out to my kids. Thank you for supporting me and believing in me. Also, just thank you to my wife. She helps motivate me a lot. So hopefully she continues to do so. And I just want to thank my dad and his wife, because they're big support as well. And yeah, shout out to my mom. I know she's up there watching.
Absolutely. And hopefully she watches you get your hand raised and become West Virginia state champ. It's October 16th at the Welch Armory down in Welch, West Virginia. Zach and his people will be there. Derek and his crew will be there. It should be exciting. I'll check back with you here on the show here in 2 or 3 weeks to see how camp's going. Keep yourself healthy and train hard, man. Very proud of you.
Will do. Thank you for having me.
All right, buddy.